You know exactly the kind I mean, the massive, gleaming machine with polished chrome everywhere. Interiors wrapped in premium leather and a price tag that quietly rivals the cost of a home. And in that moment, a question hits you. How is the person driving that truck actually paying for it? Yet somehow, they're comfortably sitting behind the wheel of a $70,000 or even $80,000 vehicle. It feels like a financial paradox, like there's some secret formula you haven't been let in on. How ordinary people are managing to afford vehicles that, on paper, they absolutely shouldn't be able to. Because once you understand what's going on behind the scenes, you'll realize something important. Let's start by looking at the numbers, because they're honestly shocking. The average monthly payment for a new car has climbed beyond $700. Not for luxury cars, not for exotic brands. That's the average. And when you shift your focus to trucks and SUVs, the most popular choices right now, you're frequently looking at payments of $900, $1,000, or even $1,200 per month. And these aren't short-term commitments. These payments stretch across 6, 7, sometimes even 8 years. That means someone could easily spend over $80,000 on a vehicle by the time they finish paying it off. Naturally, you might assume that incomes have increased enough to support this kind of spending. While wages have grown slightly, they haven't come close to keeping pace with these rising costs. So how are people making it work? The answer lies in a combination of financial strategies and psychological influences. Today, that standard has shifted dramatically. 6, 7, and even 8-tier loans have become the norm. In some cases, lenders are even offering 10-year financing options. At first glance, this feels like a win. Stretching a loan over a longer period lowers the monthly payment. A truck that might cost $1,500 per month over 4 years. By extending the loan, you're not reducing the cost, you're increasing it. That same vehicle ends up costing thousands more over time due to interest. What looked like a manageable payment quietly becomes a significantly more expensive purchase. And there's another hidden consequence. Depreciation. Cars lose value quickly, especially in the first few years. This situation, known as negative equity, makes it extremely difficult to sell or trade the car without taking a financial hit. And yet, people continue doing it. Which brings us to the next piece of the puzzle: promotional financing. Walk into any dealership and you'll see offers for 0% APR financing. It sounds like free money, and that's exactly how it's marketed. But in reality, it's not free at all. Buyers are either paying full price with zero interest or getting a discount with standard interest rates, but rarely both. And those 0% deals usually require excellent credit and shorter loan terms, meaning most buyers don't even qualify. Still, the idea of easy financing plays a powerful role in making expensive purchases feel justified. Someone buys a new car with a long-term loan. A few years later, they want something newer, but they still owe money on their current vehicle. Instead of paying off the loan, they roll the remaining balance into a new loan for another car. This cycle repeats, and over time, the debt grows. It becomes a loop that's incredibly difficult to escape, because breaking free would require paying thousands out of pocket just to clear the existing loan. And from the dealership's perspective, it's the perfect system. It creates repeat customers who are financially locked in to upgrading again and again. The deeper issue is psychological. Over time, car ownership has become more than just transportation. It's become tied to identity. Represent, success, status, hard work, achievement. And when something is tied to your identity, it becomes much easier to justify spending more than you should. That's why someone who would never spend $1,200 a month on anything else can convince themselves it's reasonable for a car. Because it doesn't feel like a purchase, it feels like a statement. The automotive industry understands this perfectly. They don't sell features, they sell emotions. The advertisements don't focus on fuel efficiency or depreciation. They show freedom, adventure, power, and lifestyle. And once that emotional connection is established, logic takes a back seat. Now let's talk about how people actually manage these payments month to month. They cut back on housing, delay moving out, or live with roommates longer than planned. They reduce spending on food, travel, and entertainment. Some take on second jobs just to keep up with their payments. In extreme cases, people dip into retirement savings or take out personal loans just to cover down payments or repairs. And insurance while prioritizing the car loan above everything else. And it gets even more complicated when households have multiple vehicles. It's not uncommon for families to have 2 or 3 car payments at the same time, each with its own loan, insurance, and maintenance costs. At that point, transportation expenses can rival or even exceed housing costs. And yet, because it's normalized, it doesn't raise alarms. Repairs can easily run into the thousands. And then there's fuel. For larger vehicles like trucks and SUVs, monthly fuel costs can exceed $300 or $400, depending on usage. When you add everything together, the total cost of ownership becomes staggering. Let's break it down. Imagine someone buys a $55,000 truck with a 7-year loan. They pay roughly $67,000. Add insurance, fuel, and maintenance, and the total cost can exceed $130,000. And at the end of those 7 years, the truck might be worth $15,000. That's not just an expense, that's a massive transfer of wealth away from the buyer. Now consider the alternative. If that same $800 per month were invested instead, it could grow into tens of thousands of dollars over time. Letting go of it feels like giving something up, even if holding on to it is costing them their financial future. And that's why this cycle continues. It's not just about affordability. It's about perception, psychology, and a system that encourages short-term satisfaction over long-term stability. Remember this, it's not necessarily a sign of wealth. And maybe, just maybe, that reliable car sitting in your driveway, the one that's fully paid, off represents something far more valuable than it seems. It represents freedom. If this opened your eyes even a little, make sure you stick around, because understanding how money really works is the first step toward making smarter decisions with it.